Greetings to all of you. We are looking today at the teaching of English as the first additional language, which is by far the most common methods of teaching English. Now, when you teach English as a first additional language, you will need a clear and defined approach. If you have a goal, but no steps to get there, you will fail. With that in mind, though, let's take a look at the framework for describing teaching approaches. We're going to take a look first at each category. That's the pedagogical orientation, language practice activities, assessment, learning materials, and finally, teacher and learner roles. Now, pedagogical orientation, which is a complicated way of saying how to teach, refers to a teacher's basic attitude, beliefs or feelings in relation to their work, education and instructional methods. That sounds complicated, don't worry, it isn't. I like to teach in bite-sized pieces using many tasks, very varied tasks. Some people prefer to use a very strict discipline system in the classroom. Others keep the children busy as much as possible. It depends very much on the teacher in that regard. Now let's look at the language practice activities, which are the activities on which a teacher will focus. For example, hands-on exercises, text-based exercises, and so forth. From my point of view, I do not use authentic texts for the teaching of language. I just do not find that they work. I prefer to use specific tasks developed for the topic in hand. For example, when I give a punctuation task, I will first give them a paragraph with all the punctuation present, and it's a paragraph written by myself to make the task easier. Then I will give them a blanked task with all the punctuation and capital letters taken out. That is an effective way to teach that specific task. Now let's move on here to assessment. Assessment is the action the teacher takes in evaluating the learner's progress. And there are informal and formal methods of assessment. Formal assessment is that which is prescribed in the CAPS, the specific tasks that we give throughout the year. The informal assessment is, of course, not recorded. It is diagnostic. When I use informal assessment, my favorite method is self-assessment because it provides immediate feedback to the children who are being assessed. I do not like peer assessment. I do not find it really works in the classroom. Stick to self-assessment. Now let's move on to the learning materials, which are the resources a teacher uses to help learners to meet the expectations of learning. Now, of course, the classic ones in the old days were the blackboard and books. Now we have data projectors and tablets. This means that we are now in the new and exciting times of education. What an amazing opportunity we have at the moment. Finally, we're going to look at teacher and learner roles, which have been combined under one title because they link with each other. The role of the teacher affects the reaction of the learner and vice versa. Now, teachers, of course, in the classroom lead by example. I always encourage the F factor. Put fun into teaching. Put a smile on your face. Be happy when you go into the classroom. And finally, a little paradox. Remember that good learners produce good teachers, much more than the other way around. And at that point, I'm going to say goodbye, and I hope you found this useful.